गाइस वेलकम बैक टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल साइंटिफाइल्स। मैं आज स्टार्ट कर रहा हूँ यूनिट 6 क्लास 11th का टॉपिक है ये, और वो है ग्रेविटेशन से। जैसा कि हम जानते हैं कि स्पेस के अंदर लॉट ऑफ नंबर ऑफ प्लैनेट्स हैं, स्टार्स हैं, एंड ऑब्वियसली lot of galaxies। ये जो planets हैं ये एक दूसरे के साथ कैसे इंटरैक्ट कर रहे हैं, सपोज ये planet 1 है, ये planet 2 है। हाउ दिस planet 1 is interacting with this planet 2? In this chapter we will deal with those interactions, and that interaction is governed by a general term which is called gravitation। Actually हर planet एक दूसरे planet को attract करता है, so that attraction means there is a force of attraction between the two planets, so that force of attraction is called the gravitational force, and the phenomena which govern this force of attraction between these two heavenly bodies, so that is called the gravitation। Force of attraction between heavenly bodies, and to understand this force of attraction, what is the force of attraction and how this is correlated with these two bodies, Newton has given a formula that is called Newton's law of gravitation। यहाँ पे हेवनली का मतलब है masses of bodies are very large, means several of kilograms they have the mass। So what is the Newton's law of gravitation? So in this, the force of attraction between the two bodies, suppose there are two masses m1 and m2, and they are separated by a distance r, so the force of attraction between these two bodies is directly proportional to the product of mass m1 mass m2 and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them। r यहाँ पे इन दोनों masses के बीच का distance है, और ये जो force होगा, the force of attraction between these two heavenly bodies, ये आपका डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल होगा इन दोनों के मास के मल्टीप्लिकेशन के। अगर ये मैं प्रोपोर्शनैलिटी का कांस्टेंट रिमूव करता हूँ, a constant of proportionality will come out which is called to be g, and this formula can be written as g m1 m2 divided by r square। this इस g को बोलते हैं जी ग्रेविटेशनल कांस्टेंट। ग्रेविटेशनल कांस्टेंट, ये आपको प्रोपोर्शनैलिटी कांस्टेंट भी है, सही है। अगर आप स्टैंडर्ड वैल्यू ले लें m1 और m2 की, मास ऑफ अर्थ कंसीडर कर लें और रेडियस ऑफ अर्थ कंसीडर कर लें, तो g की वैल्यू सॉल्व होके आती है 6.67 × 10⁻11। अभी मैंने जी की कोई यूनिट नहीं लिखी है, अभी मैं यूनिट कैलकुलेट करूंगा एंड हाउ टू कैलकुलेट द, इसकी यूनिट कैसे निकालते हैं जी की, इसकी डायमेंशन कैसे निकालते हैं, तो वो मैं अभी आपको बताऊंगा। यूनिट ऑफ जी, ध्यान से देखिए, जी m1 m2 डिवाइड बाई आर स्क्वायर। फोर्स अगर मैं ऐसा यूनिट सिस्टम कंसीडर करता हूँ, सो फोर्स की यूनिट होती है न्यूटन, न्यूटन, एंड मास की यूनिट क्या होती है, किलोग्राम, आर की होती है मीटर। तो अगर मैं ये तीनों पुट कर दूं इस फॉर्मूले में, तो क्या होगा, न्यूटन जी, देयर आर टू मासेस, सो ये आपका हो जाएगा किलोग्राम स्क्वायर, नीचे डिस्टेंस का स्क्वायर है, सो ये मीटर स्क्वायर हो जाएगा। और अगर मैं जी कैलकुलेट करूँगा तो मैं इसके साथ क्रॉस मल्टीप्लिकेशन कर दूँ तो ये न्यूटन मीटर स्क्वायर डिवाइड बाय किलोग्राम स्क्वायर। इसको मैं ऐसे भी लिख सकता हूँ, न्यूटन मीटर स्क्वायर किलोग्राम -2। सो दिस इज द यूनिट ऑफ जी। एंड हाउ टू कैलकुलेट द डायमेंशन ऑफ दिस on the dimensional section or the unit and dimension, I am also making the video, so I will provide the lecture soon. So dimension of G, ध्यान से देखिए, okay, so dimension of force is mlt -2. This can be calculated very easily. If you don't know, just remember the formula. By remembering the formula, you can easily calculate the dimension of F, so which is generally equal to mass into acceleration, and acceleration is what, velocity upon time, and velocity is what, distance upon or displacement upon time. So it goes to ml upon t square. T will go upwards and this will come up. So in terms of mass, it will be m, and for distance it will be l. So अब ये सारी डायमेंशंस यहाँ पुट कर देते हैं। पहले इस फॉर्मूले को g को सॉल्व कर लेते हैं। सो इट विल, ये एफ आर स्क्वायर डिवाइड बाई m1 m2 हो जाएगा, ठीक है। तो f की डायमेंशन रखते हैं mlt -2 l2, m1 m2 m2, एक मास से एक गया, तो ये सॉल्व होके क्या आ जाएगा, m ऊपर जाएगा -1, L1 L2 बेस सेम, पावर ऐड L3 t -2. So this is the dimension of G, and this, the evidence of this gravitational force or this Newton law of gravitation is the solar eclipse, the moon eclipse, or the attraction between the sun and earth, and earth and moon. So this gravitational force r square first does not depend upon the medium between these two bodies. It is always attractive. Third, does not depend on size, not size, nature and shape of body. So these are the basic points. The force of attraction does not depend upon the medium. Basically, in space, if there are two planets, so obviously there might be some medium between these two planets, but the Newton law of gravitation or the force of attraction does not depend upon the medium. It is always attractive and does not depend on the nature and the shape of the body. Fourth, direction of force or we can say final direction of force will depend upon the heavy body. So these are the basic implications or basic properties of the Newton law of gravitational force. So इसके बाद मैं डिस्कस करूंगा कि मेरा प्लैनेटरी मोशन के बारे में, बेसिकली हाउ माय अर्थ इज मूविंग अराउंड द सन. सो मैं डिस्कस करूंगा प्लैनेटरी मोशन के रिगार्डिंग. मीन्स मेरा अर्थ सन के अराउंड कैसे तो रिवॉल्व करती है, कैसा उसका ऑर्बिट होगा, ठीक है. तो उसके बारे में फर्स्टली केपलर ने इसके अर्थ के ऑर्बिटल मोशन के बारे में डिस्क्राइब किया था. हाउ कि अर्थ मूव कैसे करेगी, उसका ऑर्बिट कैसा होगा एंड व्हाट इज द टाइम पीरियड ऑफ इट्स रेवोल्यूशन. सो केपलर डिस्क्राइब्स 3 लॉ रिगार्डिंग दैट. सो केपलर गेव द एविडेंस और प्रूव द motion of around sun. So it has given 3 laws regarding that. So what is Kepler's first law? Kepler first law. According to Kepler first law, every planet revolve around the sun in an elliptical orbit, where the sun will be situated at one foci. So this is the Kepler first law. Every planet revolve around the sun in an elliptical orbit where the sun will be situated at one foci. Means if I fix sun here, the other planet will revolve around this sun not in a circular orbit, it revolve or in elliptical orbit. So ellipse means ellipse looks like this, where the foci will be here and this axis is called B and this axis is called A, and planet is revolving around here, keeping the sun here like this. Whether it will move in this direction anti-clockwise or whether it will move in clockwise direction. So this B and this A is called semi major axis, this B is called semi minor axis, and the equation of this and the equation of ellipse will be what? X square by A square plus y square by b square equals to 1, where this is called x and this is called y, minus 6. So this is the equation of ellipse. A is called the semi major axis and B is called the semi minor axis, and B can be related to A with the help of eccentricity. You can read out this section about the ellipse in the mathematics basically. So this is my Kepler's first law, and how to deduce this Kepler first law from law of gravitation? Deduction of first from deduction of Kepler's first law. So as we know, अगर एक planet sun के around revolve करेगा, it has some angular velocity and it has some distance r. So the force of attraction, that Newton's law of force of attraction between them is, can be written as Gmm divided by r square, and if it is revolving around the sun in an elliptical orbit, so that force of attraction will be equal to this. So, and remember this P for planet so if it is revolving like this, so it has some angular velocity omega, and where m is the mass of sun and small m is the mass of planet. So this force is the central force, and why it is a central force? Because it is acting along the radial actually. Okay, so the force of attraction between these two will be Gmm divided by r square, and which will be equal to the centripetal force, which is equal to mr omega square. So m will go out to be cancel out, G m by r square, and this will be mr, sorry, it is r omega square. So from here omega square will come out to be Gm by r cube. So this is the deduction of Kepler's first law using the Newton's law of gravitation. This is my centripetal force, and omega is the angular velocity of that planet P. After अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि मेरा जो प्लैनेट है वो सन के अराउंड एलिप्टिकल ऑर्बिट में मूव करेगा, तो इसके बाद अगर मेरा प्लैनेट एलिप्टिकल ऑर्बिट में तो चलो मूव कर गया, सो व्हाट इज द टाइम पीरियड ऑफ रेवोल्यूशन ऑफ, इसका टाइम पीरियड ऑफ रेवोल्यूशन क्या होगा प्लैनेट का अगर ये ऑर्बिट में मूव कर रहा है तो? सो केपलर ने एक सेकेंड लॉ भी दिया। केपलर के सेकेंड लॉ के हिसाब से द लाइन joining the planet to sun sweeps out equal area in equal interval of time। सो जी इसका मतलब क्या है? दैट इज एरियल वेलोसिटी इज कांस्टेंट। आई एम बैड इन फिगर्स, this is my y-axis, this is my x-axis। so what is that कि अगर मेरा सन यहाँ है, मेरा प्लैनेट यहाँ पहले यहाँ था, सपोज दिस इज पॉइंट P1, प्लैनेट P1 यहाँ था, अब प्लैनेट P2, अब प्लैनेट पहुँच गया P2 पॉइंट पे, अगर ये मूव कर रहा है तो, एंड इन दैट सिमिलर टाइम यही प्लैनेट अगर सम एरिया इधर काट रहा है और इधर है, सो दिस एरिया विल बी इक्वल। ओके, सो which means that the line joining the planet to the sun sweeps out equal area in equal interval of time। so this is delta t and the swept out area is dA। so the whole meaning of that will be dA divided by dt is constant। so this Kepler's second law actually, remember this distance, minimum distance is called perihelion and this is called aphelion, RA and RP, perihelion and aphelion। this point is called aphelion and this point is called perihelion। perihelion is the shorter distance between sun and planet and aphelion is the larger distance between sun and planet, and in this, according to this law, the aerial velocity is constant। so this law also gives the conservation of angular momentum, which means at aphelion, at perihelion, conservation of एंगुलर मोमेंटम। सो इसमें क्या होगा आपका MVP RP MVA RA, this V, the velocity of planet at the perihelion point, RP is the distance of perihelion distance, this is called aphelion distance, this is the velocity of planet at the aphelion point। so M will go out to be cancel out, so Vp upon Va will come out to be Ra upon Rp। so this is my Kepler's second law। deduction of Kepler's second law. Kepler's second law का deduction कैसे होगा? In this we will use the method of angular momentum, or we can say the method of angular momentum, or using the torque phenomena also. Suppose if a body is moving, a planet is revolving around the sun, so if there is an axis of rotation around the sun, if I will fix like this, suppose this is my sun, planet will revolve like this, so this has some axis of rotation, so in that case angular momentum will, L vector will be equals to 2m cross dA by dt. This dA by dt is called the aerial velocity. So as we know, gravitational force is a central force. Central force means that it is acting along the radial vector. This is x, y, sun, planet. So the force of attraction is like this, okay, and this is my force of attraction direction, while the radial vector direction is this, okay. So in that case, why the gravitational force is a central force? Because the gravitational force is directed or depend on the, or it can be proportional to or depends on the distance between the two planets. So that is why I called it as a central force, and it is also is a conservative in nature. That is also one of the properties of the gravitational force. So according to that, we know the formula of torque is R cross F. If I will write the sign, because this cross product, it can be written as mod F mod R. It has to be sine theta n cap. Look, R vector is like this, F vector is this, so the angle between them is 180 degree. If I will put theta as 180 degree here, so it will go out to be 0 and torque will come to be 0, which means what? If the torque is 0, torque can be written as dl upon dt, means change in angular momentum with time. It is 0, so angular momentum has come out to be constant. So 2m dA by dt will be constant, which means mass is always a constant, so this dA by dt is constant, so which means the aerial velocity is constant. So this is the deduction of Kepler's second law, and Kepler has also given a third law to describe the time period of revolution. Kepler's third law, according to this, the time period, let's say it is capital T, of revolution is directly proportional to or it is actually the square of the time period of revolution of a planet around the sun is directly proportional to the cube of semi major axis of the planet. Which means the t square, which means the t square is directly proportional to r cube. R is the semi major axis of the planet basically. I had already told you, described, this is my semi major axis in an ellipse basically. So okay, if I will remove the proportionality of constant, it will come out to be 4 pi square upon g m r cube. In 2017 और in 2016 नीट के पेपर में सीधा क्वेश्चन आया था कि टी स्क्वायर इज डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू आर क्यूब. सो द कांस्टेंट ऑफ प्रोपोर्शनैलिटी जी आपका क्या होगा, प्लीज डिस्क्राइब. सो द कांस्टेंट ऑफ प्रोपोर्शनैलिटी इज look like this. Okay, so this is my Kepler's third law. These are the Kepler's law which describe the planetary motion or the motion of planet around the sun. So if you like this video, please subscribe my channel and watch for more content. I am try to upload the videos daily in daily routines. So